I want to talk today about touring, right? And the dark truth about touring and mental health, right? Now, I recently ran into a site, maybe it's a group on Facebook, right? And I saw this post because one of my friends in the touring world or musician world shared this post, right? And I'm going to read the post. You'll see the name of the group if you want to join it. I think this is important and very important. It's the kind of work that people, on my channel, they want to hear about, right? You want to hear the reality of what it was like on the road. There's a lot of people that watch my channel that may have chosen a different path than music and are curious what their life would have been like if they had gone on the road, right? I had a guy the other day said that his goal in life was to be a guitar tech on a big tour, right? And he had followed a different path in life. He had to raise his children, and he was currently taking care of his mother and all these other things. And he didn't think he was coming to health problems now and didn't think this dream would ever happen, right? Well, I had to tell him that, hey, this is a very tough life, right? And touring is, it's not all it's cracked up to be. Yes, it can be amazingly rewarding. You could make good money, and you could experience things that nobody else, maybe that or that you grew up with, got to experience, right? But there is a side that takes a toll. Now I'm going to read this post, right? This group on Facebook is called This Tour Life. I'll put a link to it. I think this group is primarily here to focus and be a support for people in the industry, right? But drawing attention to and speaking to these things can hopefully make things better for the guys that are still out there doing it, right? Okay. And before I read this, right, I want to mention that there are perhaps 3 different groups in touring, right? You've got the Sidemen, people like me who would play the songs that were, performed in the studio, would go and play the parts live, right? Sidemen, bass players, drummers, guitar players, perhaps pedal steel, keyboard players, whatever different instrument a band has, a sideman will be hired to replicate stuff live, right? You've got the artist, right? The artist would be at the top of the chain. So you'd have the artist, you'd have the sideman, right? And you'd have then the crew, right? The crew. And you could essentially say the road manager is part of the crew, but they're almost the boss of the whole thing, right? They're almost at the top because, and here's the deal, a known or very good tour manager, he could be the highest paid guy out there. It's just all of these things. Here's the deal. You think of when you see a touring group, you see the artist, right? And he essentially could be the one profiting the most from this, but it's very hard on the artist. It's not easy to be the artist and have somebody. David Lee Roth had a post the other day and said he's taken to a cement room where he's under surveillance, and then walked to a stage where he is judged severely by thousands, and then taken away to that stage to another room where he is, protected by security and then taken to a room where he is then, and so I think all sides of touring are very, very difficult. You've got the sidemen, perhaps, people see, after they see the artist, and depending on how big an artist is, the sidemen could be pretty much no one even knows you're up there, right? If you like, I had Matt Bissonette, who played with Rick Springfield with his band The Squirts on recently, and he talked about playing with Rick Springfield and said, they could be up on stage playing with their pants down, and they literally did that. And nobody in the audience even noticed. Nobody even noticed because they're so focused on the artist. So, you have these different levels, right? And a lot of people would then think the roadies, and that's a term that I don't think people in that business want to be thought of as roadies. That seems to be a throwback to an era where, they worked for a case of beer and all this, but man, stage crew, right? The crew, right? That would be more the term that I think people would be, known for, right? And they may be, in some cases, paid more than the sidemen, right? A highly qualified, sound engineer, right? Who has studied sound engineering and is out front, making the band sound great, making the decisions of what to place in the mix and all of this kind of things. That may be paid more than the guy playing lead guitar who everybody sees, right? So I'm going to read this now and bear that in mind. I believe this was written and this group is for crew members, right? But I think everybody out there on the road, this lifestyle, this life of being a touring musician, artist, or crew member can take a serious toll. And you're gonna see this in this very well written piece right here that was posted on Facebook. Here it goes. The raw truth about touring and mental health. Touring breaks people in ways that most don't talk about, and the industry rarely admits. At its core, touring is chronic displacement. You're always somewhere else. No routine, no grounding, no permanence. Your nervous system never lands. You live in fight or flight, travel delays, high pressure shows, interpersonal tension, constant overstimulation. There's no decompression, no off switch. And emotionally, touring swings between extremes. One night it's 15,000 people screaming. The next it's a silent hotel room. You go from deep connection to total isolation over and over again. That kind of cycle burns out even the most resilient people. But the culture of touring rewards stoicism and punishes vulnerability. You're expected to power through, joke about it, drink through it, avoid it. And the deeper you go, the harder it becomes to admit you're unraveling because your whole identity is tied to the road. Your worth becomes about being needed, useful, reliable. So when your body screams, I can't, your mind says you have to. There's no roadmap for recovery, no built-in support, no decompression protocol. And when you finally make it home, you don't feel home. You feel disoriented, numb, out of place. No one around you quite understands what you've just been through. And honestly, you don't either. The truth is, touring can be beautiful, but it can also dismantle you. And pretending it doesn't is why so many are suffering in silence. Admitting the toll doesn't make you weak. It makes you honest. And that honesty is where real change begins. All right. So let's break this down. There's some stuff in here, man, that really hits. And here's the thing, when they say there's no decompression protocol, yes, you get days off. Yes, there are times where you may go home for a few days. You may go home for a few hours. And look, this kind of thing, this extreme touring and mental health issues, right? If you're doing, say 30 dates a year, or you're doing 40 dates a year on the road, it's not really an issue, right? Yes, 40 dates, 50 dates on the road. If you're old, right? That could be difficult, and you've been doing this for years, right? But none of this ever reared its head for me until I started doing like big time, long touring, right? Being out there. And here's the thing, like it says, there's no decompression, constant overstimulation, right? And you're expected to drink through it, right? You're expected to do whatever it takes to get through the next gig, right? So like it says, when your body screams, I can't, your mind is telling you you have to. And that is why you probably have so much substance abuse, for people that are on the road, because, you're expected to be resilient. You're expected to do whatever it takes to get the maximum amount of sleep when it's your turn to sleep, right? And then you're expected to wake up when it's time, it's showtime, time to go, it's go time, come on, let's go, right? And this is the reality of it. When they say constant overstimulation, and imagine, it's like going from the screaming crowds, right? And then, you're going on the bus, right? And there's an after party, on the bus. And then the crew, comes on the bus, and the bus starts rolling down the road, and everybody's still in woohoo mode, right? And that woohoo mode could go on for hours, right? Depending on how much overstimulation you've just had, right? Trying to decompress, right? And the easiest thing, the thing that's the constant there, and is constant, you're seeing the fans doing it, you're seeing the artists do it, the sidemen do it, the crew after the shows and stuff like that. The constant is, alcohol. Alcohol is there. And it becomes very easy to just reach in the cooler. The beers start getting handed out, and they keep going. And the beer, it drains, and, it's on to the next one. And, that's the reality. You're expected to do whatever it takes to be able to keep doing it, right? And if you can't sleep on that bus, then you better figure out a way to get to sleep. Because if you don't sleep, if you don't get rest, and you're not able to do your job, you're just going to get replaced. That's the reality. There's no, oh man, he's having tough time getting sleep. Why don't we let him go? Take the day off, bro. We got you today. Go rest. There's none of that, man. And, it doesn't matter whether you're sick or, you've got major, here's the thing, talking about how the people back home don't understand. You could have, and like I was about to say, major problems at home, major problems with your girlfriend or your fiance or your family, right? Or your wife or your kids or your dog, any number of things that are tugging at your heartstrings, right? While you're out there in this crazy overstimulation. You may be getting repeated texts from home saying, I need you home. What are you doing? Where are you? How come I didn't hear from you yesterday? Well, yesterday you were out in the middle of a cornfield that they had turned into a arena or some kind of outdoor festival, right? And you're miles away from a cell tower. And you're unable to even stay in touch sometimes with the people you care about at home. But those people, when you get home, they expect you to be, the same person that you were before you went out on the road. And you're not. You went from, screaming fans and flying down the highway and, just overstimulation after overstimulation. And then you come home and you really probably just need to get in bed and stay there, right? But the people at home, they're ready. They want to see you. They want to spend time with you. They want their dad or their boyfriend or their fiance or their husband or, or look, for female crew members, it could be the exact opposite. Their boyfriend or their husband or whatever could be waiting at home for them. And nobody really understands what you went through. Nobody really understands how hard it was and how you really do need time to decompress. But there is no protocol for that, Maybe some artists, maybe some families, maybe they have a guest house for the dad when he comes home. And maybe the artist goes off and goes to their cabin and goes in there and relaxes. And I don't know, man. I don't know. All of this needs to be talked about, right? All of this needs to be brought to light. And I'm going to share a link to this Facebook group, right? So people can check it out. And if you're a member of the industry, you probably want to follow this group, right? Because they're trying to shine a light on this to help people out there. Look, I know there's harder jobs out there. I always get somebody in one of these videos that says, well, you should try, digging ditches, or you should try, cleaning out sewer pipes, or something like that. Hey, I get it. That's hard. But it's also a different kind of hard, right? And for all those people that say this other job is harder, right? I'd say walk a mile in a touring, crew member's shoes. And then tell me, walk not just a mile, but do a tour, and then tell me how you feel. Each night rolling down the highway, at 75 miles per hour, trying to sleep, after, going through a brutal day in the heat all day. Now look, man, these crew guys, right? They do have it worse than the sidemen. That's why in some cases they're probably paid more. We've all been out in one of those sweltering concert shows, but imagine working one of those shows wearing all black and it's 110 degrees outside and the humidity's 93%, right? They're out in it all day. They don't get to chill on the bus and watch, Sports Center, right? Sidemen, they have it a little bit easier. The artist has it easier because their job is to go out there and perform. And so they can't be out there, doing this crew work necessarily all day out in the heat. They have to be able to go out there and perform, right? So there's different sides to all of this, but it's very important that we shine a light on the raw truth about touring and mental health. Because, man, by shining a light on it, we can help people, right? We can help make things better for people who have to do this kind of work.